Mr. President.
That was the least.
You need to write a note.
Okay, everybody turn on your microphones, please.
Microphone.
Call to order the meeting, the special meeting of the Sugar Land Development Corporation for Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. Public comment, do we have anybody who's expressed a desire to speak? Anybody in the room who would like to speak? No, okay, thank you, sir. Number 3 minutes, would someone like to move to accept the minutes from the last meeting?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Okay, contracts and agreements. Number 4A, consideration of and action on authorization of an economic development performance agreement between the Sugar Land Development Corporation and CVR Services LLC. Devin Rodriguez, Assistant Director of Economic Development. Please.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for making yourself available today for this special meeting. So, click and then. All right. So I'm going to start off today. So we are considering a performance agreement with CVR Services LLC. We always start with sort of what is the mission of economic development, is to create a sustainable business environment that promotes a consistent quality economy that enhances the standard of living for our residents and to provide the necessary financial resources for the city through an expanded and diversified tax base. So you all have seen me talk about this cycle before, but the main part at the beginning being it all starts with attraction of primary jobs and retaining those jobs as well. So that's what we're here to do today. So CVR Services is a diversified holding company primarily engaged in the petroleum refining and nitrogen fertilized manufacturing business. They are headquartered in Sugar Land and have been here in Sugar Land Town Square since 2007. They are Sugar Land Town Square's largest tenant with just over 50,000 square feet. Some of the project details of this performance agreement. So we entered into this performance agreement or proposing this performance agreement in order to retain CVR here. This is the project details of retaining their headquarters in Sugar Land. We will retain 165 employees with an average annual salary of $85,000, and CVR will invest $4.6 million to renovate their existing or their 51,175 square foot office space. So Town Square was built over 20 years ago, and the office spaces are in need of refurbishing as well as bringing it up to date. And so this is an effort not only to retain CVR, but also to do that and continue to reinvest in Town Square. The term of the performance agreement is 10 years. The direct incentive is $1 million over 10 years, which would be paid out in even installments of $100,000 per year if each of the performance obligations are met initially as well as on an annual basis. So initially, CVR will need to invest $4.6 million in tenant improvements for the office square footage in Sugar Land Town Square. Annually, they will need to retain 165 employees with an average annual salary of $85,000 and keep their headquarters in Sugar Land. As all of our performance agreements do have, is we have, it's a performance agreement. So it is paid once performance is made on those performance obligations that I just mentioned. And there are clawback provisions if those are not met, as well as for clawback for if there is a default in the agreement, meaning they were to leave Sugar Land before the 10-year term, as well as a reduction for, and it looks like I'm missing, my slide got cut off a little bit, but a reduction for lack of performance on employee or salary. So if they do not meet the 165 threshold or do not meet the average annual salary of 85,000, there would be a reduction on an annual basis, depending on what the performance was that year to the $100,000 amount. So our recommendation is was reviewed by City Council, Economic Development Committee, as well as with City Council during executive session. Our staff recommendation is to approve this performance agreement, and if approved, the improvements would be completed by October 1st, 2023, with the incentive beginning in 2024. And I guess I'll just, in addition, I'll mention, which I kind of forgot to earlier, is that we're really excited about this opportunity. We're facing some heavy competition from other areas of the Houston region that are lower cost than Sugar Land is. And so we really have to be competitive in order to kind of retain some of our large existing employers that we have here. With that, any clarifying questions? Oh, and one final thing, Brandy Stevens, who's the Director of Corporate Affairs, is with us from CVR. I forgot to mention that at the beginning, so sorry about that.
Welcome,
Sorry,
Brandy.
Brandy.
Yeah. So isn't that Sherland Town Square going to also be doing some enhancements that's going to be improvements to the building itself?
Yes, that is part of some of the negotiations that CVR had. Originally, we had thought about the possibility of trying to do a tri-party agreement. It got to be a little bit too complex. So we have kept it as a two-party agreement, and with the ability for us to review that lease agreement as part of the obligations. So they will have a separate lease agreement with Lionstone that talks about those requirements, but we kept it for a two.
Oh, right. I knew it was a separate game. I just wanted to point out there's some
Yes.
additional
Yes, no,
enhancements
there is
yeah.
definitely some additional enhancements that Lionstone is bringing to the table in terms of some parking accommodations and other amenities that they're looking to do in Town Square, that some of them could also benefit some of the other tenants as well. Some of those things are still in the works. Some of them they've directly committed to CVR.
Motion approved. Second.
Yeah, okay, so we have a motion by Zimmerman and a second by Kamali. I still have a question though. Aside from the intangible benefits, like reputation and that sort of thing, do we have a number, an expected number of return on investment of $1 million that will be coming back to the city? When we spend $1 million, we get back how much? Do we ever run those numbers?
We do. We do a financial modeling on all of our projects that we review with our Economic Development Committee. Fortunately, I did not bring that report with me here today, so I would have to get back to you on the exact number. But as part of our practices for all of our incentive agreements, we do a financial modeling, which inputs the jobs, the annual salaries. It has a multiplier effect depending on what the industry is, because there's usually spinoffs for other businesses that are related to that industry. And so all of those are computed along with what the incentive would be.
Yeah, I would love to see that, please. I've never seen one of those, and I would really like to see it. Is there any other discussion? Well, let's vote on this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Okay, thank you, Devin.
Thank you very much.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So
Carol?
moved, yes.
Okay,
I'm going
you're
to motion
done.
to adjourn. We'll get it right this time.
Thank you all.